things I love about Arcadia is that I can offhandedly mention how I really wish Mojang would have let us eat, the dehydrated infant angry marshmallows, and someone on the server will make it so I can eat them. Nom 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 nom. I always get a little bit anxious when I see a chest outside my door because I'm like, I don't know what's in there. Might be good, might be bad. But this time it was really good because someone on the server, miraculous angel that they are, has made it so that I can eat the baby dried ghasts. I can eat them now. I can chomp them. This is everything I wanted. And admittedly, they taste like baked potatoes, but hey, it's the thought that counts. And now that I have these edible dried ghasts, you might be thinking, Corn, are you going to stock them in unsavory? And no, I'm sorry guys, these are my snacks. These are my snacks only. Admittedly, Cat, went looking in the underworld and in unsavory because he was trying to find, the update stuff easy, and he watched the video and was like, oh, Corn has dried ghasts. No, I don't actually sell them there. It was just, I thought they looked delicious, and now I know they're delicious, so I'm going to keep eating them. They are my snacks, you can make your own. And now that I have my snacks sorted for the foreseeable future, it's time to get back to the underworld, where guess what, gang? We're working on another interior. Interiors with Corn. Last episode, we worked on little bits and bobs around the place, like this stand here, and just adding various things, but it's about time we get back to, actually doing an interior. So today we're doing this one, this building here, the garage with kind of a weird building that looks like it was a second thought build on top of it, which is honestly one of my favorite buildings in this area. I know I've done different interiors before then, but I really like the way this one looks. This was one of the ones that I felt good about even when I was drawing it, and I think it looks nice, so I'm pretty excited to get to do it. It's going to be sort of a shady, because everything down here is supposed to be a little bit shady, a shady potion brewery that, yes, is being brewed in a real sketch sort of garage area. And it's going to be run by witches, so that's going to be real fun for me to deal with later on, but that's a problem for future Corn. Current Corn gets to reveal that she actually did the diggy diggies in advance this time. And so we've got all of this space, actually not a lot of space, but enough space to do what I want, I think. So we can just get right in. The first thing is going to have to be the floor, because I'm not sure, it does kind of fit the vibes with just the deep slate, but then the walls also being the deep slate is kind of a little bit off, so I'm not sure quite what to do here. I have picked out a couple of different possible block palettes for the floor, and we're just going to put them down now and see what I'm feeling, and maybe mix it up a little, and I'll put in the floor. I'll make a decision. I will make a decision. Interiors with Corn. So I've put in the floor, and it is exactly what I was really hoping it wasn't going to be. And you might be thinking, Corn, if you really didn't want it to be this, why'd you make it this? And it's because it looks the best. And then you might be thinking, Corn, why don't you want it to be this if it looks the best? And it's because it's concrete powder. It's concrete powder, so if I put a water bucket down here, it's all just I'm gonna need to replace the entire floor. But we're just gonna hope that doesn't happen, because yeah, we're gonna hope that doesn't happen. I mean, that's with this entire building. I've got concrete powder in here too, so this is an anti-water zone. But anyway, we do have the floor in, which means we can start working on, actual parts of the interior. And you might be thinking, Corn, you didn't put a door in. And that's true. That's because there's not going to be a door on the first floor. The door is going to be on the second floor. If you look up there, you'll see there's a nice number of just, trap doors. You can actually get in through that window. Getting up to that window is going to be more tricky. I will make some kind of way up, because currently I can't. But it will happen, just not right now. This is a garage. It will not open. And if you want me to do redstone to make it open, I say no. I don't know how to do that. And I'm more interested in it being decorative. But anyway, in terms of working on the interior, this base, the garage area is where the actual brewing is gonna happen, and the up there is mostly gonna be where the witches live and stuff. So you'll have to actually get through and go down the stairs into the shop area, the brewing area over here, which is going to mean you're more exposed to the witches, which I think is a little bit vicious, but also very fun from my perspective. But wow, I've just been yapping and not actually doing anything. Okay, in terms of things that need to get done here, down here needs to become sort of a potion brewery area, and we also need a way of getting to the second floor, and we need to put in the second floor. So let's do at least one of those before the next section in which I talk a lot. Interiors with Corn. So I've gone and I've added a bit. I've added this little detail to the garage door that makes it look like sort of you could pull on the chain and make it raise and lower, or at least I think it looks like that, so I'm pretending aggressively. Then we've also got the ladder to the second floor and the second floor. And you might be thinking, Corn, I thought ladders would be bad because, fall damage. But I'm not super worried about things damaging the witches inside, because witches can drink healing potions, instant health, and heal themselves. So I'm not terribly worried. And I don't think a fall this high can kill them. Also, it's not like they're falling on ladders. Like, I'm not super worried. If it becomes a problem, I'll change it, but I'm not super worried. And I've clearly made the second floor, sort of. I've made the floor of the second floor, and I made it sort of ramshackly, and I wanted it to be a floor you could theoretically spleef someone through, just because that seemed very funny. And just imagine, it would be so funny. And also the trapdoors do make it look sort of more worn down in the same way that they put like boards on the windows. So I think it looks quite nice, and it looks odd from below, but in a good kind of way. You know, it looks like it was just sort of cobbled together, and I quite like that. But now, of course, we've got to actually work on making it look like what it is, which is sort of an illicit potion brewery, which I've just currently put functional pieces in right now, and not really any of the detailing. Interiors with corn. And ta-da! I've done a whole lot of work on the interior. The vast majority of it is, as my interiors tend to be, window dressing, but the real shop part is right here with these potion cabinets, which, no, I did not think in advance to name them before I filled them up, so I did have a small kind of piñata moment. But anyway, behold! Assorted potions, which are each 3 gold. This is the main meat of the shop. They're all pretty much the same, and whenever a potion gets sold, I'll replace it with a new random one, really whatever I feel like brewing. And then over here we've got sort of random potions that don't actually do anything. Thick potion, mundane potion, just so that it looks like something is happening without encouraging theft. And then also we've got some free nether wart if anyone wants to take. Just remember to replant. Don't be a heathen. And stuff in jars. And overall, it is an interior I feel pretty good about. It's a shady potion place in a garage. I like it. Moving up to the second floor. I haven't really done much, except I've put in the entrance and the exit. Because you can go from here to onto this glass. You go here, you can sort of squeeze through that, drop down to there. And then the way you would get up is by jumping, like, just imagine it in reverse order. I'm going through the steps you should take instead of just jumping down right now. And you go to here, to here, to here, to here, all the way down. A lot of scaffolding. I'm thinking maybe to put another scaffolding next to that 2 set, just so it looks like less weird and less conspicuous, because I feel like just by itself it's a little weird, but maybe one more. I originally had it in the center to get closer to the window, but that definitely looked weird, and since you can make the jump through the window, you know, looks better. But yeah, I've been hard at work in the interior. And so the shop part of the shop is functional. The entrance part of the shop is functional. It's a little bit weird because you're going in through a broken window. But I think it's very aesthetic for this, you know? It's the underworld. You're breaking into a condemned building to get potions. It's perfect. You go on in through the window. I like that a lot. But what still remains to be done is the whole upstairs. Also, yes, I'm not going through the entrance every single time just because it's like I'm not going to try to get the witches through there when I move it either. This is just more convenient right now. But once everything is in place, I will be going through the actual way. But yeah, this needs to be set up to look like where the witches are sort of living above the shop. And it also needs to be set up in such a way that it's clear that the shop is downstairs. Like, I want it to be not confusing for people to enter. I do want it to be kind of deadly, because there will be 3 witches here. That's just part of the charm, you know? Like, everything here is a little bit deadly, and I quite like that. Interiors with corn. And the potion shop interior is complete. Pay no attention to the shulker monster that I had to move from in front of there to over here at the start of this episode, because I knew I'd be working on this. But yes, the interior is complete. And you might be thinking, Corn, you normally do, like, way more sorts of transitions, and you do it more bit by bit with interiors with Corn. How is it we've only had, like, a little bit? And the answer is, I guess I've just sort of been locked in with this. You know, like, I've really been enjoying this project, and as such, I've just been working on it and maybe taking it a little bit faster than I might otherwise have. And so here you can see the upstairs. You might be thinking, Corn, this is very simplistic. Are you sure you're done with the interior? And the answer is yes, because the genius of it is that it is simplistic. I put all of this stuff down and then I looked at it and I was like, I don't know how I can make it better. It's sleeping bags, if you're wondering what the carpet on the floor is. It's just the witches have sleeping bags up here. And that's it, because they're not really living here. They're just camping out in this abandoned building. And it's kind of falling apart, so why would they build something permanent? They've just got sleeping bags, and I assume that they actually live probably somewhere else. They just sort of camp out here when they need to. And they've got the shop downstairs. Like, this is an abandoned, decrepit, just really fallen down building. You don't want to live in here. It's just if they need to, they will. Need to as in, like, need to spend the night or something. And then if you go down here, you see the interior I worked on before, with all of the potion-y stuff, the potion-y lab, because really, you don't want to be living above a potions lab. That just seems like a bad idea. You know, fumes, maybe toxic explosions. If they need to spend the night here, it's sort of a setup. And so yeah, and the shop bit is done, so the interior is complete. Except for, you know, the 3 witches I need to get in here, which is why I'm opening this door, and then we need to get 3 witches. Now, there were a couple of ways I could have addressed the witch problem. Witches, like zombie villagers, can be made from villagers, you just need to strike them with lightning. Which is a little inconvenient because, like, I'm not great at relying on weather. I need to wait for a storm, and people tend to sleep through storms, and if they wouldn't if I asked them to, but it's just irritating. And I have already moved villagers way too much, so moving a villager to a place close to the underworld, where then it will then get struck by lightning, and then having to get the witch from there to the underworld, just seemed like not fun. Not fun in the slightest. Especially considering the moving villagers bit, I really never want to do that again. So the other option was just to find a witch somewhere close to the underworld and bring the witch from there to the underworld. And that might be a little bit hard, except for the fact that the underworld is underground. And if you've ever, like, spent any time underground, you know mobs are always spawning, especially when you are lucky enough to be the only person on the server, so it's like you are the center of the universe, nobody else exists. So all I had to do was just wait around long enough to see that a witch spawned, and then go and make sure the witch didn't despawn, and make sure the witch chased me back to where I was going to go. And if I prepared with enough milk buckets, then really the poison and the slowness that the witch threw at me shouldn't be an issue. There was just one thing I did not foresee, and that was that witches kind of have the intelligence of villagers when you're intending to move them, meaning they get stuck on pretty much every little thing. And you know what biome the underworld is in? Dripstone caves. There is a witch. I'm going to hit her with a do not despawn. Girl. Come on. Come on. You're really this bad at this? You did this to yourself, man. You poisoned both of us. This is because you are a lousy poisoner, not because of me. That wasn't me. That is not on me. Can you move now? You got stuck on the teeniest little spike. Very good. Exactly what I would expect from a witch of your caliber. That was also you. That was on you. We have to agree that that was on you. You keep poisoning yourself. You just poisoned a bat. Why would you? What is wrong with you, man? Just randomly poisons a bat. Oh. We got stuck on this spike again. Very good. That is one. One, I say. Once I got the witch safely inside the shop, naming her and all of that was very easy. Just some name tags and a little bit of poison. But hey, I've got the milk to deal with it. And yes, there was a little bit of an issue with that. I've been having issues with the resource pack not properly loading, so I need to log in and out to trigger it. But once I finally did trigger it, it was exactly what I wanted. Hello? Hello? Tanfredo? Yes! Yes! Very good! You can poison me, that's chill. That's chill. And you might be thinking, Corn, who made that awesome thing for you? And it would be, as it always is, Tooth. Because I poked at Tooth and said, hey, can you do this? And Tooth said, sure. So go check him out, he's very cool, he's linked in the description. And you might also be thinking, Corn, why is that what you want? And why did you name the witch what you did? And I will explain all of that later when we get into the Greek mythology bit. But for now, we've got another witch to catch. Hello. Do not despawn. If you have any trouble, just let me know. You're having some trouble. Okay. It's all cool. It's all cool. I did this with your predecessor. I'll do it with you. Let me drop my pickaxe. And you've been able to move this entire time, and you've just been, yeah, fooling me. Alright. I see you're a little bit more clever than everyone else. And by everyone else, I mean me. Yep, you were just pretending not to be able to move. I know how this goes. You keep poisoning yourself! Hello, Enyo. Yeah, come on, bud. Oh my god. So, that was half a heart. Unpoisoned. With 2 witches. And I said there'd be 3. So you know what kind of mood I was in when I was like, dang, now we need to get a 3rd witch in there. But I went to do it anyway. It's just that I spent upwards of an hour in the caves doing exactly the same thing I've been doing, looking for a witch to spawn, and a witch did not spawn. I was thinking of, like, the insanity thing, and, you know, like, rolling the rock back up the hill, except the rock worked the first 2 times. I don't know why it isn't working the 3rd. And finally, an hour later, I managed to find the 3rd witch. But the 3rd witch was easy. So easy that you won't be hearing in the Hall of the Mountain King another time. Instead, I'll just cut right to the chase, where we see all 3 of them together. And by see all 3 of them together, I mean see all 3 of them attempt to kill me as I move the last witch into the shop. I'm good at this. And that's 3! And now there are 3 witches in my potion shop, and all is good. You might be thinking, Corn, 3 witches is a little excessive. How can anyone buy anything? And I would just like to show you the following footage in which I successfully buy several things, though not really because I'm not going to deplete my own stock. But I go through the actions as if I were buying things, and I was totally fine. But I've got my money. I'm going to go buy a potion. Excuse me. Flip this up here. And 1. And okay. There we go. Now you see, here's where I would purchase something. I'm not actually going to, though, but as you can see, I am purchasing things. Wow, look, I'm purchasing things. And then, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to vacate the premises, having fully survived. And not even drank my milk or anything. And now that I've shown you that my shop is very shoppable, it's time to talk about the Greek mythology behind these 3 witches. There aren't a ton of Greek witches in Greek mythology, like there are some, but they generally go by other things like sorceress or potioner or something like that. But there were enough that I got to choose. So I chose the Rhea, also known as the Phorcides, also known as the Grey Sisters. They were called the Grey Sisters because they all shared gray hair from birth. And some other fun facts about them is that sometimes there's 3 and sometimes there's 2. Like, a couple of the versions I looked at had 3, and a couple had 2, so I just went with 3 because 3 witches, you know, like Macbeth. Their names, per my research and the myths I'm using, are Pemfrido, Enyo, and Dino. And they shared among them 1 eye and 1 tooth, hence why 2 of the witches appear to be blind and only 1 of them has an eye. I didn't really want to get into the tooth stuff because it's not like Minecraft witches have mouths anyway, but just know that in their non-existent mouths, they only have 1 tooth and they all share it. If you know of them, the myth you probably know them from is the one where Perseus, seeing that they have 1 eye and 1 tooth, steals their 1 eye and ransoms it back in exchange for information about Medusa. Which, like, I understand you're going on a heroic quest, but rude. The Grey Sisters weren't really witches in the Minecraft sense with potions and stuff, which makes it a little odd that they're running a potion shop. But what they do have, and what they did have in Greek mythology, was the gift of prophecy, which means the only reason they would open a potion shop in the underworld is if they saw it was gonna be a roaring success. So now you guys all have to make that happen. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules, I just make the rules. And there you have it, the Grey Sisters with 1 eye and 1 tooth among them, running a potion shop. So when you shop there, because the Grey Sisters have foreseen that you will, just remember to bring a milk bucket.